Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening once again, and welcome to the Talk of the Town at the Jamaica Pegasus. Rest assured that our highly elevated position is not necessarily a marketing ploy directly linked to the product that you're about to hear about. But we want to welcome you. It's my honor and delight to have you here as we celebrate really development and particularly a timely move to combine the best science and the best of herbs, including the renowned Jamaican herb, to create really a timeless benefit for all humanity. And it's going to start right here in Jamaica, and we're glad that you could be here to share in this official part of that initiative. My name is Michael Edwards, and again, I'm pleased to have you all here. Everybody is feeling good? No, I don't think so. Some people have not had anything to drink. Everybody feeling good? Right, so you should be feeling good. What's about to happen here is quite significant, and you're going to hear a lot more about it. I'm going to introduce, first of all, before I hand over to the gentleman who's going to take you through the rest of the evening, just briefly introduce the members of the head table. You're going to hear more about them as we go on. To my left is Dr. Joel Moody. He's with the research team at Timeless Herbal Care. Yeah. And then I'm going to skip over to my far right, and we have Mr. Ernie Eves, QC. And next to Mr. Eves is Mr. Rami Kleinman from Hebrew University. That's in Israel, by the way. Yes, I heard a cheer for Israel. That will remain hidden for now. But I'm going to bring to the podium, a gentleman who loves Jamaica, of course, is Jamaican, has represented us in many spheres. He's a lawyer. He is involved in entertainment. He is involved in business. And he's involved in putting Jamaica where it rightfully belongs, at the forefront of health, wellness, and prosperity. So can I get an applause for that before I introduce him? And keep it going, ladies and gentlemen, as I present to you Mr. Courtney Betty, the President and CEO of Timeless Herbal Care.
Thank you, Michael. And thank everyone for being here this evening. The Minister of Justice, Mr. Mark Golding, who's just been an amazing support person in this process. And of course, the Honorable Ernie Eves, the former Premier of the Province of Ontario, and Minister of Finance, who chairs our Board of Advisors, who had to fly around the world literally to be here this evening. I really appreciate it. And, you know, for this evening, I really wanted to do things a little bit differently. And I've been known to do that, and I'm probably not going to change now. And it's really just about telling you a very short story. This is what the evening is about, and through that story, you'll get a chance to meet some of the individuals that are here. We're not into long speeches. We really wanted you to come and introduce yourselves at this point in time. Go forward. It's kind of funny, a very close friend of mine who I had dinner with yesterday said to me, you know, you've approached this sort of like a submarine. You've done a lot of work, and all of a sudden you've now emerged. And that's true. We made a strategic decision. We've been at this for 2 years. We've been fairly quiet in terms of what we're doing, but at the end of the day, what's very interesting about it is how our initial strategy or business plan that we started off with, how we've executed that minutely to the point that we're now able to come forward to you, not to say that we're going to do something, but actually to say this is what we've done and this is where we're going to go forward. So as an attorney myself and a former senior legal counsel at the Fair Trade Commission, and having helped to carry out the deregulation of telecommunications in Jamaica, having formed JACAMP, the Jamaica Association of Composers, Artists, and Music Publishers here in Jamaica, working with the World Intellectual Property Organization, I've had a history of contributing to the development of my country, and I take that seriously. And when I looked at the opportunity that was emerging in terms of medical marijuana, from the Canadian perspective, we've had a very strong, amazing program for 10 years. Blaine Dowdy, who's my close friend, he's going to speak about it and the benefits that come from it shortly. We've had a program for about 10 years. And it's a very fascinating situation because, and Blaine will speak a little bit, we have a conservative government in Ontario, in Canada right now. Probably, Ernie might say, one of our most conservative governments. But Minister Harper, in fairness to him, started a new industry. And he's come out and said he's created a $2.5 billion new industry for medical marijuana. And so we're seeing the emergence universally, whether it be in the United States or Israel, which we'll hear a little bit about. All over the world, this industry is now emerging. And so a light bulb went off in my mind, and I thought, well, Jamaica, I mean, we have this tremendous product here. We are, interestingly enough, I was reading an article last week that the United States is saying that we're the #1 exporter of marijuana into the United States, which is fascinating. So we're already in the business. And now it's just an issue as to how do we begin to play by the new rules of the game. That's really what it comes down to, is understanding what the rules are and how do we participate in that. And so when I looked at it, and with my team of advisors and others, and they beat me over the head. I'm a different person than I was 2 years ago, that's for sure. I've learned to listen, that's number one, and to take advice from others, and that's been a great part of my personal development. We set out with a mission, and that mission is what you're seeing today, which is really the concept, and we came up with it, of the green-gold triangle. When we looked at Israel, and you'll hear about it in the tremendous work and the history that's been done in Israel, and the way that they've developed a medical marijuana program. Every time I say that to people, they think, Israel, but that's the reality. They've brought it down to a science. And we thought we'd bring the science from Israel, we combine it with the raw product, the enthusiasm, the creativity of Jamaica, and we now bring it into the international marketplace. And that's literally, we're timeless. That was our mission, that was our vision. And we came up with the slogan, the Green Gold Triangle. And as I've moved along that path, I've been able to, not only develop a lot of friendships, but also being able to meet so many other people. Many of you are here tonight, and others internationally that have shared that vision and decided to participate along with us. And it's a difficult challenge in Jamaica sometimes. And first of all, I love Jamaica, and you'll never hear me say anything negative about Jamaica, because I think we're always trying to do our best in everything that we do. But whenever you try to introduce in an environment, in any environment, something that has been a cultural taboo, along with so many other different elements that you're dealing with, it's challenging. It's challenging politically. It's challenging socially. It's breaking down those barriers between different classes. And so even though, and I know that the Minister of Justice, I'll ask him to say a few words, I hadn't asked him before, we'll speak about the other issues of decriminalization, legalization, which as a lawyer, I personally feel that someone should not be convicted or charged with something that's going to end up having a tremendous impact on their future earnings and their lifestyle, just for, smoking marijuana. I think there's an issue with that. So personally, I take an issue with that. But at the end of the day, our focus is on the medical side and the benefits that come from the medical side. And what's fascinating about that is, and Blaine and I, we have these conversations all the time, is whether or not the THC, that component, how critical is it for the medical side? And there's a lot of research. Blaine will say, yes, it is, and there's others that may say, well, there are other components to the plant that you'll be able to bring and get some benefits. And you hear a little bit about those benefits from us here tonight. One of the things that we did, number one, that I'm really proud of, there's two things, and I'm going to be quiet very soon because I said I wouldn't do speeches. We brought a line of products that we've actually developed. So we've been building and working on these products so we can actually bring them to market in the nutraceutical arena, manufactured according to international standards in Canada, so we're ready to go to market with their products. We've also partnered with a local company, Roxy, just outside Brownstown. They've got a 12,000 square foot facility, and we're going to develop their facility so that they can now begin to produce to international standards, and that's part of our commitment, and they're the ones that's produced these local products for us. So that's the one thing that we're very, very strong on. The other part of it, which I had no idea literally when I started on this road, that I was going to end up where I am today, was the whole element of the research and development and the brilliance and the science and the doctors and all of this stuff. I mean, the last time I took science was probably grade 11 in high school. So, and I don't know, I think I got 54 in chemistry or something like that, some ridiculous number. So all of a sudden I now discovered that we had all these brilliant people that were here in Jamaica. We've had a Dr. Lockhart, you've had a Dr. West, you've got these minds that have been here, that have gone out, that's been way ahead in doing many things, but unfortunately our society was not supportive of them, which is kind of interesting in itself because, you know, we have been leaders because since 1974, and the Minister of Justice is here, Jamaica actually has within the legislation, medical marijuana is excluded from the definition of ganja, which means technically and legally, being a lawyer, that's my opinion, medical marijuana has been legal in Jamaica since 1974. But, you know, is we've actually gone out and built our SMART team, or a scientific medical research team. And many of them are here tonight. I'm very proud in terms of Dr. Joel Modi. I'm going to have Joel just say a few words. And Dr. Lawrence Williams and the tremendous work that Dr. Williams has been doing here in Jamaica, and he'll say a few words. You know, but that's really where the opportunity is for us. If you can develop these products and actually have an impact on cancer, on diabetes, on autoimmune diseases, I mean, the pharmaceutical industry is one of the biggest in the world. So just think of the economic impact, the economic spin-offs that's come from that. So as we've gone down the path, we've learned and now recognize that actually the medical side, and Blaine will tell you as well, is really where there is just such a tremendous opportunity for Jamaica. We have the raw product, we've got the brilliant minds, we've got the University of the West Indies with excellent facilities. It's just something that really makes sense for us, and the timing is just perfect right now. So that in a nutshell is where we are, and so glad that that you're all here and be able to share with us this evening what a moment that I'm very proud of, and the friendships that I've developed and the relationships that I've developed, and also my personal maturity and development that has taken place throughout this process. So I'm going to have Dr. Joel Modi. Dr. Joel Modi actually heads up our research medical team. Dr. Joel Modi will just say a few words, and then I'm going to have Dr. Williams come up and say a few words as well.
Thank you very much, Courtney. I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak not only about Timeless, but as well as to the people here in the audience. Just a little bit about my interest. I'm a physician and an epidemiologist by training. And more precisely, I work with women who have ovarian cancer in Toronto. And if you ever know anything about ovarian cancer, it's not a very nice disease, and the outcome is not very good. But what are the other items, aside from traditional Western medicine, that could also have a benefit around the quality of life of the women that I treat? And this is where looking at other types of natural products, other types of substances that can, in benefit or separately, provide some opportunity to help with their compliance to their chemotherapy, decreasing their nausea, such that they can actually tolerate the medicine that we give them. It all started for me many, many years ago. I'm originally from the U.S., Alabama to be exact, the southern U.S., and I remember growing up with my grandmother who would always talk about this yellow root. And for her, this yellow root was the cure for everything, especially if you know some of the history around the southern U.S. in the 1930s. People of color didn't have easy access to medical care. And so understanding and hearing her stories and hearing how they were using natural products to help with many of the conditions, that helped guide me into what I do today. So understanding that this knowledge has always been there. It has been told to us by our forefathers, has been told to us by our ancestors. But for some reason, that knowledge hasn't been able to become as public as we need it to be. So allowing the science to now help revitalize that knowledge is one of the things that I'm very interested in. So working with my colleagues here, Dr. Williams, brilliant mind that is from Jamaica, and the ability to now find ways to demonstrate scientifically to move to that next step. We traditionally say from the bench to the bedside, but I want to add that next step, from the bench to the bedside to beyond. And this is the next place of where we are now going beyond the traditional aspects of what original kind of holistic idea of Medicare is about. So thank you very much. Very excited about the work that's being done and as well as the work to be done.
And the gentleman that I've just had the pleasure of spending a lot of time with is one of the most humblest people that you're ever going to meet. But what's interesting is when I sit back and I observe his interaction with other people in his profession, and he goes on and he speaks in the scientific manner, the kind of awe that they show and the deference that they show towards him. Certainly one of Jamaica's great scientists and researchers, Dr. Lawrence Williams.
Good evening, all protocol observed. And I must say thanks to Courtney for making this great challenge that we have over the past years a reality. I think it's a reality looking at the perspective that we now stand. I have been working on guinea hen weed for 23 years, and we are just seeing the good benefits that this plant has for medicine. It is a very long road to any successful research development. But the interesting thing I want to leave with all of you tonight is that in our bodies, there's an organ that they call the thymus, that when it is involuting, that is when it is dying off, we are all becoming prone to degenerative diseases. And that is something that you cannot stop. But the compound that we have isolated from the guinea hen weed will reverse that process. And I think that's a great accomplishment that we are going to be seeing in recent times coming. And the formulations that we have now developed are based on this molecule. I think we should also consider the prophylactic treatment of this molecule. The thymus normally involutes or atrophy or degenerate at about age 28, 32. And when this involution takes place, you become prone to degenerative disease and cancers. And the trisulfide that we have isolated seems to reprogram the thymus to prevent these diseases from taking place. I think that's the greatest thing that we have found so far, other than its direct toxic effect on cancer cells and leaving healthy cells safe. I also congratulate Courtney for bringing the Hebrew University to our shores. And as you know, science is a very expensive research endeavor, and we think we can benefit from this cooperation. I think it's a wonderful thing that he has done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lawrence. And what we wanted to do tonight was a couple of things, and I'm going to do one of them right now. You know, we have to be tremendously respectful of our history and our culture. I think it's critical that we understand who we are and where we're from. You know, it's interesting, you know, my background, my family is from Westmoreland, the Clark, and I understand my great uncle was the one that helped to start Jamaica National. And I'm very proud of the work that he's done. And so knowing your history, there's a sense of pride and all of those things that, that go along with it. And when it comes to Jamaica and the Maroons, I mean, I don't think there's any other ideal that we can all aim for in terms of their contribution to us. So I just wanted, for this segment, just for a brief moment, just to recognize the Maroons. And I've got Colonel Lomsden here, and I'm going to have him come and say a few words. But before I do, I wanted to just have a little bit of a, Mama G, just bring a little bit of a tribute to us. Thank you, Mama G. Now, the event has tremendous implication. Rather than me trying to explain, I'm going to have the Colonel just come up and just give a quick summary. Because in many ways, what you just heard was what the Maroons used as a call to action. And that's one of the reasons that we're here this evening, is really to begin that and continue that process of a call to action.
Yanking Pong bless all smarty pre. Champong Nani. Come sikim bebo. What I said was three, a dialect, an Akan dialect that the Maroons still use. I said, God bless everyone here, and may the Queen of Heaven bless these proceedings. Mama G, I must say, has been elevated to a very high status. She has been installed in Suriname as the first female grandma from Suriname by the Surimaka Maroon grandma, who is coming here to Charlestown to install her at our conference in June as that. Mama G blew the conch shell, which one set of Maroons from Tortuga blew. The Maroons in Jamaica blew the abeng, a horn, a side-blown horn, the first wireless means of communication. And it is tremendous, tremendous that the Maroons are being acknowledged here in terms of our medicinal use of plants and our original values. And so we thank the organization for this, and we do hope that benefits will accrue to all of us, including the Maroons, because here we are speaking about a growth agenda. So many times we speak of growth agenda, but there's no real how to achieve this. And here we see this is definitely a growth agenda. Krabitin.
Thank you. And just as we move forward, there's really two very impressive women that are sitting. See, I told you they're impressive. That are sitting in the audience, and I'd love to have them both come forward.